Guess what today is? It is your monthly reminder to get outside, to start your generator, run it for a couple hours to make sure it's ready to go for any situation. And that's what we're going to be doing today. And we're going to be using Ecoworthy's brand spanking new 48 volt 100 amp charger. This is one that you would basically use to charge your batteries in case of, let's say you don't have solar, but you do have a battery backup and your outage is lasting a little bit longer than you had anticipated. Well, you can use this, plug it into a generator, and now you have a 48 volt 100 amp charger. All right, real quick before we get to the brand spanking new Ecoworthy charger. Previously, for all of my battery charging, I was using the EG4 charge inverter right here. This is also a 48 volt 100 amp charger. If you're using 240 volts or if you're using 120 volts, then it's basically cut in half. You can do 120 or 240 with this one right here. I did purchase this one with my own money and I've been using it for, I don't even know how long, a long time, and it's been working out really good. And then after that, Ecoworthy sent out their 60 amp charger right here. This one does 60 amps if you're doing 240 volts. However, you can also use it for 120 volts, and then you basically cut your amperage in half. This one's working fan-freaking-tastic. I don't have any problems with this whatsoever, but I don't know if they're actually offering this one anymore because they came out with their big guy right here. This one is the 48 volt 100 amp charger, mainly for using it off of a generator. You can do 240 or 120. If you're doing 240, you can get up to 100 amps. If you're doing 120 volts, you basically cut that in half. And this is the one that we're going to be playing with today. So first thing I'll do real quick is take a closer look, show you what it comes with, show you all the ports and ins and outs and all that kind of stuff. And then after that, we will take it over to the battery bank, start up the generator, and charge some batteries. Alrighty? Let's get to it. Alrighty, so what we have here is Ecoworthy's brand spanking new 48 volt 100 amp charger that you would typically plug into a generator with your L1430 plug right here. Anyway, starting on the front, you're gonna get a nice little screen right here. You're gonna get a fault LED, charge LED, and then a couple of buttons on this side. So this is your AC DC switch. You have an up, down, and an enter button. And then off to the right, you're gonna get a 125 amp ProJoy circuit breaker right here. If we turn it to the left-hand side, you're gonna get RS45 BMS communication port right here. And then underneath this, which is kind of cool, this is where you're gonna hook up your battery cables. So it does come with a Anderson connection point right here. Battery voltage range is 42 volts to 57.8, and you get a max of 100 amps right here. And it does tell you negative on this side, positive on that side. And this is probably going to be either fan intake or exhaust on this side. And then if we turn it over to the other side, obviously this is where you get your L1430. And then right back here, you're going to get your generator communication port. This is an RJ11. And this would be if your generator is capable of doing the automatic start and stop option, which I do not have. And then on the back, there is absolutely nothing. Boom, that's what the charger looks like. Oh, and this thing weighs like 14.5 pounds. It's kind of heavy. All right, this is gonna be all the accessories that you get with your brand new charger. So first thing is gonna be a manual. It does give you a lot of helpful and useful information in there. Next to that, you're gonna get a couple of mounting brackets that you can mount to the charger, so you can mount this up on a wall or wherever you wanna mount it. There's your mounting hardware for the brackets, and then mounting hardware for mounting it to the wall. Next, you're gonna get a RJ11 with open leads on this side, so you can wire this up to your generator if it's capable for the start and stop function, stuff like that. You're gonna get these little green connectors. I'm not exactly sure what these are called. You're gonna get an RS45, so you can hook this up to your battery and the charger right here so we can get an accurate percent state of charge if you choose to go that route. Next to that, you're going to get a 5-30 plug right here. That would be if you only had a 120 volt charger. You could swap out this plug with this plug right here so you can still use the 120 volt option. And then the last thing is going to be your battery cables right over here. So of course, one side is going to be the Anderson connector so we can plug it into the charger, and that is going to be connected to roughly 5 to 6 feet of 2 AWG wire. This is the super flexible kind, and it's rated, or the insulation is rated for 200 degrees C. And on the other end, you get nicely crimped heavy duty battery lugs right here. All right, that's basically everything you get with the brand new charger right here. If you want to see the specifications real quick, so of course this is for 48 volt batteries only. Your range is going to be 42 to 57.8 volts DC. Your charging current is adjustable 2 to 100 amps, and that's if you're using 240 volts. If you're only doing 120, then it's 2 to 60 amps. Maximum output power is 5,780 at 240 or 2,890 at 120. It says it has a peak efficiency of 92% at 240 or 88% at 120. AC voltage range is 90 to 260 volts, and that's 50 or 60 hertz. Maximum input current from your generator will be 28 amps at 240 or 14 amps at 120. Standby power consumption is 140. The dry contact port, you have options for normally open, normally closed, and then C for your common or your ground. BMS communication is RS45, which we already mentioned. You got some operating temperatures. IP rating is IP20, so it's not outdoor rated, it's basically indoors. There's your dimensions, and it weighs roughly 14.33 pounds or 6.5 kilograms. There you go. 3 years only when used indoors. Actually, there is one more thing that they sent, which I'm kind of really excited about as well. Is a little tiny screen that you can plug into, I'm not sure if it's the RS45 or the CAN port. It comes, oh, it's going to be the RS232. So you can plug this into one of your Ecoworthy server rack batteries through the RJ11 or whatever this is called, and then we can get all of our, just like having a screen on the side of your battery. But what's cool about this, it's got magnetic strips on the back, so you can just place it basically anywhere you want. That is magnetic. So it comes with your little tiny cable and a little tiny manual. Yeah, I guess all we really do is plug it in and it's supposed to work. All right, let me get this cable undone and we will go over there and try everything out. First thing is first, let's get this little panel installed, and since it's magnetic, we're just gonna shove it in right there, and the other end's gonna go in the RS232 port. Boom, look at that. All right, I've got all 6 of these batteries paralleled together, so 2 on the bottom are the AUSC, and the other 4 are the Ecoworthy version 1 and version 2, and it does show 6 in parallel on that screen. All right, so we are sitting at 60% state of charge. Our voltage is 54. We're actually doing 53 amps of current from solar right now, and we have 6 batteries in parallel right there, which is pretty awesome. Power is 2.94 kilowatt. Remaining capacity, wow, this basically shows everything that you want to see in here. This is awesome. We got temperature up there. We have, oh, we can select every battery. Look at that. So it's going to give us a percent state of charge for individual batteries, how much current is going into that battery, and it shows all of the cell voltages right below. Wow, that is awesome. Okay, so the AUSC batteries, we'll just do number 6 down there. We're at 41% state of charge, which makes sense because those battery cables are still really long, and solar must have went down a little bit because it's getting a little quieter. That's nice. Yeah, it basically shows you everything that you want to know. So you can choose however many batteries you have connected. And this page right here, oh, so we can change. So I've got the Lux Power protocols for the inverter, so you can change that right here. That's awesome. And then settings, or whatever this one is, I'm not gonna do anything on there. and then user login. All right, so in the manual there is 2 different numbers you could put in. The first one is all ones. We'll hit OK, log in. I'm not sure what that actually does. So maybe there's more settings or something. Version. Okay, I'm gonna log out. There's another one in here. It says if you're a DIY enthusiast, you can try 666-888. Oh, we have another option down here. Oh, look at that. So it looks like we might be able to change parameters. Interesting. So rated capacity for these batteries are 100 amp hour, full capacity 107. Okay, so it looks like we can basically adjust all of these parameters in the DIY enthusiast setting. All right, well, I'm gonna leave that how it is, and we'll move on to the charger. All right, we're gonna connect everything up to this rack of batteries, and this is the one with the bus bars on the side. I'm not gonna do like the staggered, you know, one up here, one down here. I'm just gonna put them both on the bottom side, just because I think it'll be a little bit easier. So let me get this hooked up real quick. All right, now we're gonna plug in the Anderson connector. Boom. And at this time, the screen does not turn on, so we have to flip the on breaker real quick. And the screen should turn on. Nice. Okay, so battery voltage is 54.1 volts, which is what our screen said up there. We don't have state of charge yet because we haven't plugged in the communication cable, but that's okay. So we have our AC and DC switch right here. Oh, on and off right up there. Okay, that's nice. We have up and down, and then down here at the bottom, which is kind of like a menu button. So we can change our current right here. So it's at 8 amps right now, and of course we can go all the way up to 100. And if you want to change it, you're going to hit the up or down button, which seems easy enough. And then you can hit enter, and then it looks like we're going to the voltage. This is all if you're using like the voltage setting and not state of charge. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that one at the 57.6 volts. We'll hit enter, and this is going to be starting state of charge. It's on 50% right now. Stop state of charge is on 60 right now. We can adjust that. We might try playing with that here in a minute. And then the battery start voltage. So if you had this hooked up to your generator and your battery's got down to whatever voltage you set here, your starting voltage, that's whenever everything's going to start. So you can set that as well. And then your stop charging voltage, basically, which is at 57.6. All right, there's a few other things that the manual tells you in here about this. Is it has soft start capability, or it does do soft start. So let's say we have this set on 100 amps. As soon as we turn it on, it's not going to just bam, we're at 100 amps. I think it says in here it's going to start at 2 amps and then slowly ramp up to, you know, whatever you have it on. And that helps with your generator from basically choking out and dying because you're just throwing 100 amps right at it. So that is pretty nice. Another thing is you can adjust this kind of like on the fly. So let's say you're charging at 50 amps and you want to increase that to 75. You can go ahead and adjust that on the charger, and the charger will continually start going up to the 75 amp mark or whatever you put it at. Same for going down. I know with the charge verter, as soon as you change any setting on it, it basically stops and then it starts over, you know, and then it goes up to whatever you have it set at. So that is a nice thing that this has over the charge verter. Is it'll, you know, you can kind of adjust it on the fly and it's not going to start over, which is really, really nice. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I need to mention at the moment. If you're not familiar with the generator that I have outside, which we're going to be running, it is an older military generator. It is a diesel 5,000 watt generator. It does 240, 3-phase, it does all sorts of wonderful things, but it only does 5,000 watts or maybe 6,000 watts if we're lucky. I guess all we really need to do is go outside and turn on the generator and come back in here, plug it in, and start charging. All right, this is my 5,000 watt military diesel generator. This is what we're going to use to power the charger. Okay, I'm gonna shut off my solar for the moment, so this will be a little quieter. So we'll be able to listen to see how loud this actually is once this calms down. All right, we got the battery side plugged in. I'm gonna plug into the generator over here. Okay, so the screen did come on. All right, so got the battery charger turned off. Our AC voltage is around 247 or 48. I am going to just blast this up to, when you're running this, it says to keep it around 80%, which would be around 80 amps, but I typically like to run things as hard as I possibly can, just to make sure it'll work. And I'm just gonna leave everything else as it is. All right, we'll hit the on button, and then we'll hit the circuit breaker on, and we'll watch that. It's supposed to start around 2 amps or so, and then slowly ramp up. And we'll see how long it takes to get up there to 90 amps. What's cool, it shows you how many watts you're doing right down here as well. And that'll probably stop blinking after 30 seconds. There it goes. And once this gets up to running speed, I'll shut the solar off to my house, so it'll be nice and quiet down here. And one thing I was gonna mention about these type of chargers, which are good for being a battery charger and using with a generator, is, I'll just say, if you have a really crappy generator and it has a hard time keeping voltage, if it fluctuates and hurts quite a bit, if you try to plug your generator into your inverter to power your house that way, or to charge batteries, a lot of inverters don't like that, so this is an excellent way to charge your batteries. Okay, I'm starting to hear just a little bit of fans. I'm gonna turn off my main solar real quick. So I basically started hearing the fans at 50 amps, and honestly, it's not that bad. Yeah, I like how this kind of slowly ramps up and just doesn't blast your generator. Even though my generator would probably take it, I would think most would have a problem with that. All right, we are at 90 amps, and I'm just going to place this right on top, even though that's not as accurate as it should be. I saw as high as 65 decibels, which is pretty quiet. I'm gonna put the microphone on the fan side. 74, go to the other side. 65. Okay, so it's pretty quiet. It's a lot quieter than the EG4 charge inverter, I can say that. Okay, so we're running at 4,880 to 90 watts. Now the cool thing about this is we can hit enter and we can adjust this on the fly, and it will, like, I can stop right there and it's already adjusted down to 80, or we can hit enter and we'll bring it back up. We'll see if my generator will do 100. Yeah, I like that we can adjust this on the fly and it doesn't start over. Yes, we did get up to 100, which is 5,400 watts. And that wattage is gonna be based off of your voltage. So if we were at a much lower voltage, we would have more power in there. Okay, so we can get up to 100 amps, no problem. I am going to drop this back down to, we'll say 80. 85. Okie doke. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the battery communication cable, and we'll see what changes right here. Plug you in right down here, and we're going to plug them in right up here. All right, back down here. I don't have percent state of charge quite yet, and then stop. We'll go up to 69 on that one. Let's see. Okay, I just shut it off, and I'm wondering why we're not getting battery comms on here yet. Let me plug into a different one. Maybe I have to start over or something. I'm gonna try a different cable here real quick. Make sure it's not a cable issue. Okay, well, I don't know why the percent state of charge isn't working right now. Maybe I have to completely shut it off. Let me try that real quick. I'm gonna disconnect. I just unplugged it from the generator, and I'll disconnect it over here, plug it back in. Oh, Beth, turn you on. Okay, now I'm gonna plug in state of charge. Okay, well, I'm not sure why the percent state of charge isn't working, but we're gonna continue charging batteries. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's not showing up. I looked in the manual, and that's all it says to do is just plug it in. just like that. Maybe since I don't have it connected to the generator for any sort of communication, that could be the problem. I don't know. Okay, we're back up to 85 amps, and I'm gonna set this around 2.5 to 3 feet away. 55 or 56 decibels. It's a lot quieter than the EG4 charge inverter, and it's quieter than the 60 amp Ecoworthy charger. So that's great. And I'm not sure why the percent state of charge for communication is not working. I have it plugged in on the charger and I have it plugged into the battery. The only thing I could come up with is, since I don't have the communication going out to the generator, because my generator is super old and it doesn't have any of that technology in it, that could be why. All right, well, I don't really know what else I could show you right now, so I'm gonna let this run for a couple of hours to make sure it doesn't shut off or anything like that, and then I'll be right back. Alrighty, been running for a couple of hours now, and we are up to 75% state of charge, and this has been running obviously non-stop without any issues whatsoever. Still 4,641 watts or 85 amps. So far it's been running rock solid, no issues whatsoever. So what I'm gonna do now is just lower the amperage so I can shut off the generator, let it cool down a little bit. All right, so far that's been running fan-freaking-tastic, no problems whatsoever for the last couple of hours. I'm gonna shut it off, let my generator cool down, and then over the next couple of days, I do have some capacity test on a couple different batteries and battery banks, and I will be using this for my load, basically dumping the battery capacity from the test batteries into my battery bank over here. Sorry for that inverter getting kind of loud. And then once I do that, I'll probably pop back in and give you my final thoughts, pros and cons or whatever. And then I'll also try to see why I couldn't get the state of charge showing up on the charger. Maybe that's just something I'm doing incorrectly. All right, it is many days later, and I was trying to mess with the battery communication again. It did show up, you know, a couple of days ago, and I was like, cool, I wonder what I was doing wrong the other day. So I just literally plugged it back in so I could show you, or plugged in up there, and now it is not working. But what I decided to do was plug it into one of these watt cycle batteries over here, which I will do all on camera for you so you can see it. It does work with these as well. If you look right there, it shows 98% on the battery charger. So I'm not sure what's going on with the Ecoworthy batteries. I don't know if it's because I have the screen plugged in. I tried it without the screen, and I tried plugging into a bunch of these other ones, and nothing showed up. And it worked, it literally worked the other day, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just show you whenever I'm gonna end the video. And now it's not doing it. I spoke too soon about the communication. I read through the directions and I got it working. And it was pretty dumb. All I had to do was go in here and change the RS-485 protocol to Pylon Tech, and that was basically it. And we come down here to the charger, and it now says 45% state of charge, which is exactly what the battery bank is at currently. So the percent state of charge does work. Basically, you just have to set the protocol on the battery and it will match in here. And that's it. That's probably why the watt cycle battery worked, because that one's probably already set on Pylon Tech. And I'm guessing if I change the protocol on like the Global Power or really any battery to Pylon Tech, then this will probably work with basically any battery you connect it to, which is kind of cool. And I figured that out in the manual in the common operating mistakes. So if you read like the troubleshooting area towards the back of the manual, it says no communication with battery. Number one, it says battery does not support Pylon protocol, or the RS-485 wiring is incorrect. So I was like, oh, maybe I should see if I could change it to Pylon Tech, and then everything worked just fine after that. So What else do you think I could learn if I read every single page in this manual? I don't know. Probably something new. So if you do get one of these, I would suggest reading the manual if you're having any problems, which I obviously didn't read the whole thing at the beginning. All right, I think that's gonna be the end of this video, and just FYI for using this, I think I'm around 30 to 35 hours of runtime without any issues. I would say half of that is running from the generator, and then the other half is basically using an inverter or a power station and testing battery capacity that way. On the generator, I basically run it at full blast or around 85 to 90 amps for 5 to 6 hours. I've done that a total of 3 times, and then the very first time when we used it, that was only a couple of hours. So that is, yeah, roughly 20 hours on the generator, and then the rest of it was more of like it just depended on the battery capacity. So it could be anywhere from 25 to 40 amps, and I did that for 5 hours each. So yeah, we're around 35 hours total runtime and no problems whatsoever. And I will also let you know that the supplied plug that they use, so you can plug this into 120, this does work as well. I did try it for one of my capacity tests on a 12 volt inverter, and I capacity tested one of the 12 volt batteries that I have off camera right over here, and the 120 volt option works, and I can run it at 30 amps no problem for 5 to 6 hours. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, well, that is pretty much all I got. If anybody is interested in picking one of these up so you can charge your batteries to be prepared for storms, hurricanes, long periods of time without sun, I will have links down below. And currently right now, the price on this, at least at the time of the video, is $439.99. And if I have any discount codes or anything like that, I will put that down in the description as well. Okay, that's pretty much all I got. If anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you put those down in the comment section. If this video was helpful in any way possible, make sure you like that smash button on your way out, and we will see you on the next one. Then we come down here. Of course. I probably insert a cat somewhere for all of you cat people. Oh, and don't forget to check your generator monthly. Don't do it like every 6 or 8 months, like me. Do it every month. Make sure you're prepared, because, you know, you should be.